Today, we're going to dive into a song that feels just massive, almost like a cathedral built out of music. Elvis Presley's 1970 masterpiece, The Wonder of You. Now, we all know it as this epic love song, but what if there's something more going on? What if its emotional design is way more complex and, frankly, more interesting than just a simple romance? Let's get into it. I mean, you know these words, right? They immediately paint this picture of deep vulnerability. It's someone feeling totally misunderstood, isolated, maybe even on the verge of just giving up. It's such a powerful and relatable place to start one of pop music's all-time greatest declarations of gratitude. And that declaration is exactly what we're here to unpack. Because the whole idea behind this explainer is that this song is operating on a totally different level. It's not really about simple attraction. It's a kind of devotional praise that, honestly, has a lot more in common with a hymn than your typical love ballad. To really get why, we have to start with the messenger himself. You see, the song was around before Elvis recorded it, but his version is the version, the one that became absolutely iconic. And the reason for that? It's all in the performance. Okay, so get this, because it's super important. This wasn't recorded in some quiet, cozy studio. This was Elvis, on stage, in Las Vegas, at the absolute peak of his power. He isn't whispering these words to a lover in a small room. He's testifying to a huge audience. He takes this private, intimate feeling and turns it into a massive, public, theatrical event. And that gets us to this crucial idea of performance authority. Because Elvis has this built-in confidence, this swagger, this charisma. He can sing about feeling low and needing someone without sounding weak or pathetic. A different singer might come across as just needy, right? But Elvis, he makes this gratitude sound grand, powerful, and totally epic. And here's basically his playbook for how he pulls it off. First, his phrasing is so theatrical. He builds this arc from feeling small and vulnerable to this huge, powerful affirmation. Second, the live setting makes everyone in the audience a witness to this incredible tribute. And finally, his voice. That incredible voice just has a grandeur that gives the song's massive emotional claims the authority they need to feel completely real. All right, so let's move from the performance to the words themselves. Because when you actually look at the lyrics, you find this really specific and powerful structure at work. So here's the thing. The song doesn't really tell a story, not in the traditional sense. There's no beginning, middle, and end. It's more like a ceremony. It's like a speech that just keeps piling on these affirmations, one after another, all pointing to the incredible effect this other person has on the speaker. It's basically a ritual of praise. And this right here? This is the engine that drives that whole ritual. It's a simple but incredibly effective three-step rescue. First, you have distress. The speaker is lost. Then you have this powerful intervention. The beloved comes in and acts as a healer, a stabilizer. And finally, you get this huge outpouring of gratitude for being saved. That contrast is what gives the song its immense emotional weight. And all of this brings us to a really key term for understanding this song: devotional love. This song is describing a love that goes way beyond just simple affection. It's expressed with a kind of reverence and awe that feels almost sacred. The speaker doesn't just love this person, he's completely astonished by them. But, and this is where it gets really, really interesting, that same intensity creates this fascinating tension. It's a conflict that gives the song its lasting and kind of complicated power. Is this just a beautiful tribute to someone's care? Or is it maybe something a little more troubling? You can really see the two sides of the coin here. On the one hand, yeah, it's a generous tribute. It celebrates the power of care, it's all about gratitude, and it's honest about needing someone. But, on the other hand, does it maybe reduce the other person to just a function, the one who fixes everything? Does it kind of romanticize an emotional imbalance and create this impossible standard for one person to be another person's entire support system? This more critical way of looking at it really hinges on this concept: asymmetrical attachment. The song describes a relationship where one person seems to be doing all the heavy lifting emotionally, providing all the stability for the other. It makes you wonder, right? Who supports the supporter? The song never tells us. And in the end, the song's real genius might be that it never, ever resolves this tension. It lets you hear it as a pure, beautiful tribute, but it also leaves room for you to hear it as a more complicated story about dependence. It holds both of those possibilities at the exact same time. So it's this complexity, this tension, that explains why the song has had such a remarkable afterlife. It resonates in places that have nothing to do with romance. It's become something much, much bigger. It pretty much functions as a secular hymn. Now, it's not religious, obviously, but it uses all the tools of a hymn, repetition, elevated language, this universal feeling, to create a powerful sense of shared experience in a big group. Its language is so broad and ceremonial that it can be adopted for all kinds of different rituals.
And you see this everywhere. I mean, of course, it's a classic for a first dance at a wedding, but it's also been adopted by sports fans in huge stadiums, where the you and the song isn't a romantic partner anymore, it's the team. The song's core structure of devotion is so strong that you can detach it from one person and reattach it to a whole collective idea. It's incredible.
So, ultimately, this is why it lasts. It just strikes this perfect balance. Its emotional message is super clear and direct, so it never feels empty or vague. But it's also open enough that we can all pour our own meanings into it. It's deeply affectionate, but it's delivered with a scale and a seriousness that feels anything but casual. And so that leaves us with this one last fascinating question to think about. Next time you hear that grand orchestra swell and you get that urge to sing along, what is it you're really celebrating? Is it the beautiful mutual give and take of a partnership? Or is it something a little more one-sided, that powerful, deeply human fantasy of just being rescued? The wonder of the song is that it makes you ask,